new SEC.
Last game we're going to talk about here, and it's Florida versus UCF. Florida coming off of probably their best, after a bye week, their best performance to date. A couple of the guys were at the UCF game scouting, watching. UCF losing to Colorado in big fashion. This UCF team is one of the best rushing teams in the country. Last week was their worst, but they're still number 2 in the nation at running the football. So how are you feeling if you're Florida playing your in-state opponent here and in what could be a Billy Napier job game? I don't know. How you feeling?
Well, maybe you should feel good. You're coming off of a win. You didn't lose in the bye week, so that feels like you're 2-0, I would say, at this point in your last 2 games. You got to take it. I think that you had to feel good that you saw UCF lost last week. I'm not going to make a comparison between Colorado and Florida. We don't need to do that. The records will do that for us. But you got to see what how to beat UCF. That was UCF's first loss in the season, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. You saw the formula. You saw that KJ Jefferson is having some of the similar challenges that we've seen in the past. Still dominant on the run. I mean, the man is just 240 plus. He laid out a guy in that game if you saw the highlights there. But if I'm Florida, I feel unrationally optimistic. And you're playing at home.
Yeah. I mean, you're playing at home. I can only give so much credit for the home because they have played at home and lost this year. But I think that the blueprint, like you mentioned last week, was painted, and it is to make KJ Jefferson throw the football. Coming into that game with Colorado, he was throwing the ball 17 times per game. And this one, he threw it 35 against Colorado. So when he's throwing the ball, they're losing the football game. So if you're Florida, you need to stop the run, which is not something that Florida's done efficiently to date. But coming off a bye week, coming off a time when you can get healthy, you can get guys, watching film. I think that Florida's only moving in the right direction, and knowing that you have this one-pronged offense in UCF, which is focused on rushing, you might have an opportunity to shut that down.
Yeah. And I think that for Florida, it's I have to talk about it. Like, stopping Kobe Hudson at receiver could pose a challenge. Obviously, we've seen KJ Jefferson's highs and some of his lows throughout this season, but Kobe Hudson against this passing defense, which is bottom 3 in the conference, could pose a pretty big challenge. KJ has familiarity playing against Florida, being in the SEC West those past couple of years. So there's definitely that aspect of comfortability. Maybe this is a Gus Malzahn head coach tryout for him when it comes to being a coach in Florida right now at UCF, a former SEC coach, and could be a big win for the program. So I think Florida cannot come into this game sleepwalking. Like, UCF is definitely up right now. Like, they've been looking to have an opportunity to play Florida in the regular season since they've were a football program created. Like, these are the type of games that are typically home and homes, but one of the game is in Orlando at Camping World Stadium, for example. Like, UCF gets to host this game at some point where they play, and then Florida is hosting it here. And so I think UCF's coming in with something to prove. Like, they're like, look, we are legit. We're Power 4. Kick them while they're down on their side. But for Florida, Graham Mertz, this UCF defense is not that impressive. It's one of the bottom defenses in the country. Graham Mertz is second in the conference right now for completion percentage. And so Florida has mentioned that they plan on going with the 2 quarterback system for the rest of the season. So I guess two is better than 1, right? If you got 2 good quarterbacks, I mean, it makes a great quarterback situation. I don't know, but some of my thoughts there.
I mean, the completion percentage definitely boosted by last week week before the bye week, 19 for 21, 3 touchdowns, no picks, best Graham Mertz game of the season to date. If he can keep that up, we saw, you mentioned their defense isn't the best at UCF. They played a little soft last week, giving up passes, and Graham Mertz was exceptional against Mississippi State at finding guys who were open and busted coverage and busted zones, and some short passes. They developed a game plan to be a little bit more conservative for him. This is the new SEC podcast, so if you're watching, about Florida, but on the UCF side of the ball, some education there. I mean, they've given up 82 points in the last two games. Yeah, they're giving up points. So if you're Florida, feel confident on offense that you can move the ball and you can get in the end zone. And I think it doesn't need to only come from passing. We keep talking about wanting to get Montrell Johnson Jr. involved and up in his game. It opens up more for Mertz. So I want to see him get involved in this game. I like Florida, but UCF's ground game is so solid. Like it's
RJ Harvey, different animal. He's a different animal.
I mean, 18 of his 75 carries have gone for 10 yards or more, which is crazy. Like, I mean, he's finding the first down marker, extending drives. KJ Jefferson, amazing on the ground. No Miles Montgomery in this game. So the backup running back there will not be playing, at least at the time we're filming this. And, I think it gives Florida can look at this game, and if they game plan properly and put it in place on the field, they can stop it. They struggle to stop the rush against Mississippi State, which is where I question their ability to stop UCF's rushing because they haven't showed it to me yet. So this could be their come out game for the rush defense.
Yeah, and look, you can only I think it's an aspect of going off of the stats you've seen and going off the performances you've seen, and thinking that a good week in practice can happen, getting up for a rivalry game can happen. We never prey on it, but injuries can happen. But pardoning everyone staying healthy, that Mississippi State team with Johnny Fields at running back it's not a strong rushing team. And so that's where, to your point, I do see some concerns when I think about RJ Harvey and what this offense has been able to do on the ground. And what Florida's defense has shown. It's this season. It's been a combination of Florida's defensive woes and offensive woes, but I feel like it's been more on the defensive side that has been a concern. And so, if the defense handles business, I'm somewhat confident this offense can score on UCF.
Yeah.
So I kind of like Florida in this game.
Okay.
I don't know why. I just feel like the guys are rallying for Billy. They're coming off of a win on the bye week. So I like Florida, 31-24. I think that's a little bit I think that's under the over under 61.5. But what do you think?
That's funny you say that. I have it flipped the exact other way. Same score, 31-24, UCF's favor. Last week, UCF struggled to find the end zone. When you're running first team, when you get in the red zone, it's tough because you don't have the length of the field to work with and spread the box. They had 3 turnovers in the red zone. I don't think that happens this week. I think Florida scores a little bit. UCF's ground game just overworks them. So I got 31-24. Funny we put the same score. I like it.
Hey, I'm here for it. It'll be a fun one. It'll be competing for eyeballs on SEC Network at 7:45 with Arkansas, Tennessee.